Let's step into one of the absolute most complex, universe-shattering narratives we have ever explored. When we think of monumental, cosmic hatred, we usually picture villains driven by greed, right? Or maybe this insatiable thirst for power, or just some twisted desire to conquer the galaxy. But today, we are going to look at something entirely different. We are tracing the origin of a rage so pure and so absolute that it literally threatens the very fabric of the multiverse itself. We're going to dive deep into the immense stakes behind Doctor Doom's unparalleled fury. This isn't just a story about a bad guy doing bad things. No, we are delving into a profoundly tragic story of deep grief, stolen realities, and a hatred that was forged in the absolute hottest fires of cosmic injustice. So, I have to pose a massive question to you right out of the gate. Who is Doctor Doom's true ultimate enemy? Now, to actually answer that, to truly understand Doom's boundless, terrifying rage, we have to look way past the surface level battles. We have to ignore the standard comic book clashes, the whole good guy versus bad guy dynamic. We aren't talking about a simple rivalry born out of conflicting ideologies or two guys fighting over a patch of earth. No, we need to peel back the layers of reality itself. We have to trace a deeply tragic chain of events all the way back to its absolute inciting origin. The answer to this question isn't just a simple name on a page. It is a massively tangled web of cosmic irony and devastating loss that fundamentally redefines who the real villains of this story might actually be. Section 1. The Endgame Timeline Paradox. Okay, to find the absolute root of this cosmic hatred, we actually have to start by looking at a moment that we all believed was a total monumental triumph. Captain America takes on the supreme responsibility of carrying the Infinity Stones through time. He accepts this incredibly sacred duty to return these infinitely powerful artifacts to their exact moments in history. And let's be clear, this is a mission absolutely vital to prevent reality from just splintering into pure chaos. But right after securing the timeline, Steve Rogers makes a deeply personal and honestly incredibly selfish choice. Instead of coming back to the main universe exactly as he promised, he chooses to stay in the past to relive his old love story with Peggy Carter. Think about that for a second. He prioritized his own happy ending, this quiet life that he felt he was owed, over the rigid, unforgiving laws of time and space. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly happens when you do that? Well, by staying with Peggy, Steve Rogers didn't just change his own personal day-to-day life. He violently fractured time itself. He gave birth to multiple unauthorized branch timelines. Think of time not as a straight, predictable line, but almost like a massive, fragile sheet of glass. When Captain America made that selfish choice, it was like he took a hammer and just smashed it right into the center of that glass. Every single crack that spiderwebbed outwards represents a brand new, wildly spiraling alternate reality. These are timelines completely unintended by the universe's grand design. The exact moment he stepped out of his predetermined path, he essentially forced the cosmos to bend around his personal desire, forging a reality that was quite literally never meant to exist. I really want you to dwell heavily on the sheer gravity of this. Think about how this one singular decision by the first Avenger, a decision that was, yes, rooted in love and personal desire, spiraled so entirely out of control. It birthed infinite, unintended realities. Just wrap your head around that. Whole new universes suddenly violently blinked into existence out of nowhere. We're talking about brand new planets, new galaxies, and billions upon billions of souls living their own distinct, rich lives. And the craziest part? All of them are existing, breathing, and experiencing their reality completely unaware that their very universe is nothing more than a giant cosmic anomaly. They are all just accidental byproducts created because a time-traveling soldier from another dimension just really wanted to go back and get his dance. Section 2. Victor Von Doom's Perfect Life. Let's transition into one very specific, incredibly fragile reality that was born from this massive cosmic fracture. In this particular branch timeline, we find a man who, in our main continuity, is widely viewed as a total monster. But here, in this newly spawned, accidental universe, he is something completely different. He is not a tyrant hiding behind an iron mask. He isn't some brutal dictator ruling with an iron fist. In this specific reality, Victor Von Doom is, amazingly, a deeply loving family man. He has finally actually achieved the beautiful, peaceful life that he always fundamentally desired but could never seem to grasp. His wife is the brilliant Sue Storm, and together they have a young son named Franklin. It is a portrait of pure, unadulterated happiness, for a man who is usually defined entirely by his bitter isolation and rage. The fleeting, agonizing nature of a perfect timeline built on a stolen moment. Let's just pause and really reflect on the cruel irony here. This is the profound philosophical tragedy of this entire situation. Doom's ultimate happiness, his absolute perfect life, only exists as a cosmic glitch. His beautiful marriage, his beloved son, his profound quiet peace, they are literally all just temporary byproducts of Captain America's timeline manipulation. Victor Von Doom's absolute paradise is built on an incredibly unstable foundation. A foundation that was never, ever supposed to exist in the first place, and is completely, entirely reliant on the continued presence of a time traveler from another world just living out his retirement. It's like building a dream mansion on top of a ticking time bomb. Section 3, the collapse of the branch. Of course, the bill for Captain America's happy ending eventually comes due, and unfortunately, the cost is going to be measured in entire universes. So let's walk through this chronological sequence. Captain America lives out his long, full, satisfying life. He ages peacefully in the branch reality he created. As an old man, having taken literally everything he wanted from this world, he packs up and uses his device to jump back to the main 616 universe so he can pass on his shield. But here is the horrific underlying mechanic of time travel that no one talks about. When the man who anchored that anomalous reality leaves it behind, the unsupported branch timelines immediately begin to violently collapse. By simply deciding to finally go home, Steve Rogers essentially pulls the linchpin right out of Doom's entire universe. I need you to imagine the pure, terrifying grief of this moment. Imagine just standing there and the sky above you violently tears open. Imagine the very ground beneath your feet just turning to ash as the fundamental laws of physics start to unravel. Doom experiences the ultimate, paralyzing horror here as he is forced to watch his entire universe crumble all around him. It is a slow, agonizing, absolute dissolution of reality itself. And right in the dead center of this apocalyptic nightmare, his beautiful wife Sue and his innocent little boy Franklin are brutally wiped from existence. They perish right in front of his eyes, dissolving into absolute nothingness, and there is nowhere to run. Now, Doom doesn't just stand by and watch this happen. You have to remember, he is a master of supreme science and a sorcerer of unmatched will. He throws absolutely everything he has at this. Every ounce of his genius-level intellect, every dark, forbidden spell he knows, every single technological marvel he has ever invented, just desperately trying to hold the fabric of his reality together. But for a man with a literal god complex, a man who deeply believes that his sheer willpower can overcome any cosmic force in existence, he experiences the absolute crushing, ego-shattering realization of his own powerlessness. He utterly, completely fails. No matter his genius, the universe simply deletes his family. Section 4, a desperate multiverse search. Now, most men would just die in the collapse, right? Or they would simply let the crushing grief entirely consume them until there was nothing left. But this is Victor Von Doom we're talking about. He refuses to just give up and die. Instead, he lets his bottomless, infinite grief forge a terrifying, chilling master plan. He manages to force his way out of the dying timeline, just in the nick of time, and he begins traversing the infinite, sprawling expanse of the multiverse. His goal is incredibly dark, but completely singular. Locate just one other universe, just one single reality out there, where Sue Storm is married to Victor Von Doom. And once he finds it, he plans to commit the ultimate act of sociopathy. He's going to murder his own variant, seamlessly step right into his shoes, and reclaim his lost family as if absolutely nothing ever happened. So begins this obsessive, endless hunt through the cold, uncaring cosmos. It is a journey fueled entirely by absolute world-ending loss. I mean, really let the weight of this sink in. He is traveling through reality after reality, dimension after agonizing dimension. It is a soul-crushing search through the vast emptiness of the multiverse. He is desperately looking for a ghost of his past, hoping against all rational hope that the perfect life he once tasted, the quiet peace he briefly held in his own two hands, exists somewhere, anywhere else, in the infinite vastness of creation. He absolutely refuses to accept that his paradise is truly gone forever. Section 5. The two ultimate rivals. And right here is where we hit the climax of our breakdown, because this is the ultimate, incredibly cruel joke that the universe plays on Dr. Doom. The search eventually does end, but not with a tearful reunion.
It ends with a revelation that entirely fundamentally shatters his worldview. Because no matter how far he travels, no matter how many infinite realities he peers into, he discovers a horrifying, inescapable constant. Are you ready for this? In every single timeline across the vast, infinite multiverse, the woman he loves, his perfect wife, is married to Reed Richards. His specific universe, his beautiful, peaceful family, that was the single, solitary glitch in the entirety of creation. There is no other life to steal. And so, because of this journey, the two absolute pillars of Doom's unimaginable hatred are cemented forever. First, we have Captain America. He is the prime architect of Doom's reality's destruction. Think about it from Doom's perspective. Steve Rogers isn't some shining hero of legend. Absolutely not. He is an arrogant, deeply selfish man whose reckless desire for a personal love story directly murdered Doom's family and erased his entire universe from existence. Captain America is the literal executioner of his perfect life. He's the man whose supposedly heroic happy ending was nothing short of an actual apocalypse for Victor Von Doom.
Then we have the second pillar, Reed Richards. Because of what Doom witnessed firsthand across infinity, he now views Reed as the universal thief of his happiness. Seeing Reed with Sue in every single alternate reality just breaks something absolutely fundamental inside Doom. It permanently, violently cements his rivalry with Reed in the main timeline. This is no longer just some petty squabble over who has the bigger intellect or who has more pride. It is a deeply personal, universe-spanning cosmic grudge. Reed is the man who, by the very fundamental design of the multiverse itself, constantly, endlessly stands in the way of his redemption, his peace, and his love.
So looking at the whole picture, I have to leave you with this deeply provocative thought. Based on everything we've uncovered today, from the shattered, splintering timelines to a family meticulously erased from existence, was Captain America the true villain of Doom's story? When we look at all of this entirely through the lens of a man who lost his whole universe, who literally watched his child fade into ash just so an Avenger could have a quiet dance in the past, it completely, utterly reframes the morality of our so-called heroes. It proves without a shadow of a doubt that, from Victor Von Doom's perspective, his unparalleled, multiverse-shattering wrath isn't just understandable, it is completely, undeniably justified.